Welcome to our continuing YouTube video series on employment law. My name is Christopher Neufeld of Neufeld Legal, and in this YouTube video we'll be discussing being fired or terminated from a large telecommunications company. Now, being fired from a large telecommunications company is rarely, if ever, a pleasant experience, especially when it comes to reviewing your termination and severance package. You sort of know that the full financial might of these enormous telecom companies with their large internal legal departments and high-priced external law firms are going to be high-paid, powerful forces working against yourself right from the inception of the time you were hired, but throughout the entire process of when you worked for the company, and most especially when they undertook to terminate you or otherwise dismiss you from your job with that particular telecom company, such that the idea of challenging, finding some issue with respect to your termination and severance package, especially if you have been underpaid and you might well not know that you've been underpaid, is an incredibly daunting task and one which many people don't even want to pursue. Nevertheless, if you have in fact been let go, fired, terminated, dismissed, permanently laid off from a telecom company, you want to look for a law firm that has an interest in remedying these situations, somebody who has a particular position that has a genuine interest in ascertaining whether or not there is something there. Now, for us, what we do is we have that kind of interest, and we do typically undertake a free assessment depending upon the situation, depending upon the jurisdiction you're in, and provide you with our own position. It's not the end-all and be-all, but nevertheless, we have certain distinct things that we look for, and we provide some perspective. Other lawyers may provide alternate perspective, alternate opinions. But what we try to do is provide our personal professional opinion as to where you stand relative to the termination and severance pay package that you received from a large telecom company. And it is but one of the possible opinions that you might receive. So we cannot predict what the outcome of any legal dispute might be, but given an analysis of the facts and circumstances in your particular case, we can make some pretty clear distinctions, identifications as to whether or not there has been an underpayment of termination and or severance pay, as well as telling you where that fighting for the recovery of that underpayment stands relative to outstanding case precedent, outstanding statutory law, and tell you what the preliminary strengths and weaknesses that we see with respect to an action against your former employer. And yes, your former employer is formidable, but just because they're large, just because they're big, they do have a tendency of overlooking aspects. They think their power is sometimes so great that they needn't worry about technical aspects. And that is a reality that you're working with when you're dealing with a large telecommunications company that has recently fired you or let you go. And you're dealing with what do you do to protect you and your family's financial position. So we can't provide you any assurances. That's not something that we're in the business of doing, especially when it comes to that initial assessment. But what we can do is can provide you with some insight. We provide that free of charge, and we say, look, this is what we have discerned, and this is what may be possible to be done should you engage ourselves. And we understand that we're going against some very rich and very powerful telecommunications with a whole bevy of lawyers and a whole interest to protect their own financial interests. But that is a challenge that we're prepared to face. So if you're looking to obtain a professional opinion or even a second opinion when it comes to that former employer's termination and severance pay package, we believe that we can provide you with that insight so you can at least sleep better knowing whether or not you're making an appropriate decision. The last thing we want you to do is to be sitting there and saying years down the road, having restless sleeps, wondering, should I have asked for more? And especially when you're possibly entitled, and this is not everybody, but this is a possibility. Let's say you were entitled to $50,000 more, even $100,000 more. How would that sit with yourself? You spent oftentimes 10, 15, 20 years with that particular company, working hard, putting in your time, the best years of your working life. And to then find out you've been treated like this and you've been underpaid. The last thing you want to do is find out that you were underpaid and have no recourse, no action against that employer. So what do you want to do? You want to be talking to the right lawyer. And even if it is after you've taken the termination and severance pay package, after you've signed the release form, there may still be options. I know they're a lot they're a lot more limited. They're a lot more challenging from a legal perspective, but there is recourse potentially available. The thing you want to do is you want to be able to assess the situation and determine what you should be doing. And the lawyer can provide you with some guidance, but it's ultimately up to yourself. So if you're looking for somebody who's interested and committed to reviewing your termination and severance pay package, providing you with that initial assessment free of charge, and ascertaining the real strengths and weaknesses behind your legal position, please do not hesitate to contact us, because that is what our interest is in, and we want to protect yourself and your family's interests relative to your firing, your termination from a large telecommunications company. Thank you very much.